Hey, it's time to talk about how your past may be screwing your future. Part two. So, I wrote a blog called How Your Past Screws Your Future, and I wrote about how our past often has a negative impact on our future. I wrote about why we often turn stories in our minds from our past to predict our future and not in a way that helps us. So, we're going to do a little exercise real quick. So, I'm going to give you some facts, and I want you to kind of mentally write a story about these facts. My mom moved 1,000 miles away from me and my dad when I was 12. My dad and I received food stamps for about 15 years. Kids at school called me the trashy tramp. When I was 15, I was sexually assaulted by my gym teacher. I worked for minimum wage for about 10 years. I got fired from two jobs because I took so much time off to care for my dad when he was sick. And I got a GED when I was 19. So if you had to write a story about what's happening in this person's life now, what would you write? Is it a sad story where this person lives paycheck to paycheck and can't seem to get ahead in her personal life? Or is it a story where she's a CEO of a local business and she employs 300 people? Well, the way the story turns out depends on this person and what they think. This is because the reality of our future depends on what we make the past mean. We can use it to create a life that we want, or we can use the past to stay stuck in negative muck, which often feels safe because it's familiar. It's true. When I ask about your past, you're just giving me your current thoughts. Literally, the past is over. It only exists in your mind. If I asked you to describe the best vacation you ever went on, it might sound something like this. At least for me, it does. Six Flags was so much fun. I barely slept the night before because I was so excited to go. I rode 6 roller coasters and had the time of my life. Or I got to go to Hawaii for my anniversary and have never seen such beauty. I was overwhelmed with the colors, smells, and sounds. The vacation is over. All that remains are your thoughts about it. The same is true for every other incident in your past. Were you bullied, cheated on, yelled at, ignored in a major accident? Right now, none of those things from the past are happening right now. They're only happening when you think about them. The past exists as current thoughts. Did you know you can rewrite that history? How you describe your past creates feelings right now. The only thing affecting you now is your thoughts about the past. Let's say you were betrayed. What have you made it mean? What do you want it to mean now? As I wrote in my last story, you can always take events from the past and keep recycling thoughts like people can't be trusted and I'm not as talented as my coworkers. But ask yourself, can you let your mind imagine something new? Can you just entertain the idea? Imagine having a future that's not based on the past. Can you imagine thoughts like, there are plenty of great people out there, or I can learn to do just about anything I set my mind to? Yes, it's work. It's much easier to keep going down the well worn path in your mind, that record that spins in your head. It's work to practice new thoughts. It's like getting to a dense woods and creating a new path. But that well worn path often leads to nowhere, and often it's no fun. Creating a new path is a lot more work for your brain, but the stuff you find along the way is pretty awesome. And I hear there's a great view at the end. But what if you fail? Let's say you decide to try thinking new thoughts about your future, thoughts you may have never thought before, like I can do anything I put my mind to, and your goal is to get a job at XYZ company. So you practice thinking that thought instead of what you've been thinking, recycling for years, I'm not as talented as my coworkers. So you practice the new thought over and over again, but you never get a job at XYZ company. Well, guess what? There's still no downside to thinking the new thought. Here's why. Scenario A, you keep thinking, I'm not as talented as my coworkers, and you don't get the job at XYZ company. Scenario B, you practice thinking, I can do anything I set my mind to, and you don't get the job at XYZ company. Isn't it the same? Hell no. In the first scenario, you keep recycling the old thought, which makes you feel like shit. In the second scenario, you focus on the new thought and feel confident. So, do you want to feel like shit all the way to not getting the job? Or do you want to feel confident until you don't get the job? Do you want to feel like shit for a long time or a short time? Same result, different journey. And what do you think will happen in your life on your journey to not getting the job at XYZ company? Who will you become along the way? What will you learn? Maybe you'll get a job somewhere else instead, who knows? So the confidence that you're feeling along the way has a benefit even if you don't get the job at XYZ company. Another problem with using your past as a guidepost for the future is that often we've never done the thing we want to do. Maybe you've never had an intimate relationship. Maybe you've never lost 75 pounds, or maybe you've never traveled to another country. So your mind has to create a new reference point. To do that, see yourself in the future. See yourself 75 pounds later. See yourself standing in front of the Louvre. See yourself in an intimate relationship. It will feel pretty weird. Have you ever heard of the exercise where you write a letter to your younger self? It's a version of you that has hindsight. It's like the 40-year-old in the present writing a letter to the 21-year-old when you were 21 to yourself about how the person who broke your heart was really an asshat and worrying about what to wear to prom was a total waste of time. Wisdom from now would have been so helpful back then, right? Well, guess what? You can actually do that right now. Imagine yourself 75 pounds later. Imagine yourself in a wonderful, intimate relationship. Then use the wisdom you already have to talk to yourself now. You'll be amazed at how much you already know. You'll be amazed at how your future self can cheer you on now. For more stories like this and to get info about free coaching, head to therebuildingcoach.com. That's me, Dawn Ziger, the Rebuilding Coach. I'm a certified life coach, and I work with women who want to relieve anxiety and build trust with their partner. And now you can also get some free coaching when it comes to anything you're concerned about with the coronavirus. All right, until next time.